So I see a good number here, and we'll just start what is okay. Yeah, all right. So I just want to understand how many of you are new to uh, this live project. I mean, have you all had took this training earlier, or okay, this is the first time? Okay, okay. So the next question is, how many of you have took the live training of QA manual testing? Okay. Okay. The question is, how many of you are trained on manual testing? Hmm. Okay. All right. See, I need answers from all so that I can understand my audience. Okay. All right. Yes. So good enough. So I see 75% of you are already trained on manual testing. Only few of you didn't attend the live training sessions. Okay. So what is this training all about? Okay. The first and foremost thing is the prerequisite that we are looking for as part of this training is you should be aware of testing concepts. Even if you are not aware, okay, this is desired, but even if you are not aware, please look into the videos and the sessions that we have here will brush the concepts on a high level and we'll do things practically. Okay, so to just give a brief idea about this, the testing life cycle that we have right from requirement gathering to requirement analysis, and test preparation, test planning, and then test preparation, execution, and defect management, and last but not least is the reporting. So these activities we will be having using a live project. So we will be using any application. Okay. So for this, the requirements will be provided. So what's the basic for requirements? What is the document that you require? FRD, BRS, yes. So you need a requirement document called as BRD or FRD or SRS. Okay. BRD is business requirement document, FRD is functional requirement document, SRS is system requirement specification. So either of these you will have to use. Okay. So we will let you know how the document looks like and what goes into each section of it. Okay. Alright, so then once the document is shared, the analysis part will be done. And how you do, what is the process of doing the requirement analysis, and if it is a multi testing team, in the sense if there are multiple modules, so how each module interact with, how does people working in each of this module interact, okay, and how do you do the system testing. So how do you what do you say, how do you gather the information about system testing, and the integration scenarios will be showcased. Once this is done, then the test plan activities, which means how do you estimate the effort, okay, this is again a lead task, all right, but this will be showcased as part of this training. So going forward, if down the line you will have to prepare the test plan, how will you do? Sorry. So what goes into the test plan? Okay, what are the each and every, what are the sections that have to be placed in the test plan? How does the document look like? Okay, how do you do a rough estimate, high level estimate to come to a conclusion? What is the effort required for you to test that particular requirement? That we will be showcasing as part of this. Okay, once that is done, the test scenarios and the test preparation, which is nothing but my test scenarios and test case preparation. Okay, so this will be done, should be done in a logical way. Okay, now how do you extract the scenarios out of the requirement? What do you have to do as part of making sure that your integration scenarios are all covered? When you are working in a multi what do you say, a multi module environment, okay, how does the interactions happen? How do you know that the requirement that you are developing has a dependency on another application or another module? Okay, so that, how do you extract the information? Okay, so this we will be showcasing as part of this. Okay, to a simple way of telling is, you are working on, so say suppose AnyAuth is the application. Now AnyAuth has front end and it has database as well, right? Any web application, you will be having the front end and a back end, right? So back end is my database, and it also has a mobile application. So these web application plus database, mobile application plus database, the interactions will be different. So now a single person might not be testing all these three areas. So one person will be working on mobile application testing, the other one will be working on the database testing, the other one is simply is working on the front end testing, okay, of the web application. Now when I have to create my scenarios, I need to integrate with the database as well, right? Now you never know, say suppose an example, simple example is, I have a username as 10 characters, 10 characters in front end, defined as it will take only 10 characters on the front end, whereas in the database the column accepts only 8 characters. Okay, now do you see any issue here? Okay, so what is the issue? Yes, so the truncation will happen, right? So say suppose I have entered, I registered first time in any auth and I gave the username as a 10 characteristic one. When it goes into the database, the last two characters will be truncated. Now when I try to log in the next time with the user ID, my user ID will not be found, right? It will be saying invalid username, right? So as a front-end tester, I am testing this. I am making sure whether the username is created or not. Now, at the end of my testing, or when I actually started the testing, consider this scenario. When I actually started testing, then only I will be knowing that my username is getting truncated in database. Agreed? Yes? No? You want me to repeat the question? Question is, when I started the testing, then only I will be knowing that my name is getting, the username is getting truncated in the database. Yes? No? Right? So it is yes. Only when I'm testing, then I'm knowing it. But what if when I interact with the database team, hey, see, my username will go into the database. I want to know what is the column in the database table, what column, what table this value is going and filling into. If it is mentioned that the maximum length of that particular column is 8 characteristics, I will raise the issue then and there itself, so that while coding they will rectify the issue and they will correct it. Instead of I waiting till the code is deployed and I start the testing, it is better to find this way, right? So how do you do that? Okay, so there will be multiple scenarios where you will have to interact with multiple teams, different modules. So how do you come to a conclusion? How can you do that? So that we will be explaining as part of this test case scenarios or test scenarios and test case preparation. Okay. Then is the test suite preparation. Now I have the test cases written. Okay, they are approved. Now for the current release, say suppose this is my second release. Okay, release 1 has some 10 test cases. Okay, of one requirement. Okay, now as a of requirement 1, I'm just giving some number. Now release 2 is an extension of R1 plus some additional requirement R2. Now when I have to test it, what should I do of R1? What sort of testing I will be doing on R1 requirement? Yes, good. So you will be doing the regression testing. Now regression testing when I am doing, which means the 10 test cases that I have written in the earlier release, should I need to test all the 10 test cases? See, there's a confusion lot. We are saying yes. I see 60% of you saying is 60% of you saying yes. But the answer is no. You need not test all the 10 test cases. You will prioritize, or you will, by then you will be knowing what are the requirements that are of high priority. If you go back to our training, okay, in live training when we are creating test cases, one second. Sorry. So in our training, when we discussed about the test case preparation, we said have the severity and priority. Do we remember that? right? So what are we doing? The same approach we will take here. We will take high severity, high priority, and medium severity, medium priority test cases, and we'll keep them under release 2 as regression. One simple way of telling, but even you can take the low priority, low severity also. But in general cases, we will not test such scenarios. Okay. So of regression, we will take regressions test cases plus progression. Progression means the current release, the current requirement, that is R2 test cases. Now, why am I stressing on this point? The amount of regression you will be doing will define your testing effort. So if I add even one test case also extra, which means I have to give some extra effort, right? So when I'm creating test plan for release 2, I'll have to keep in mind what amount of regression I have to do. Okay. Now, how do you do that regression? Okay. I'll just give you a couple of examples. Say I have NEOT login page, and this is my requirement 1. And my requirement 2 is I have the test suite preparation, test case, trainer creation page. And then I have R3, which has trainees creation page. Now I wrote for login page for mobile application app and web application. I wrote some 20 test cases, assuming. Now when I'm writing test cases for this, I have written some 25 test cases. Okay. Now tell me how much amount of regression test cases that I have to create, that I have to keep for trainer creation page. Yes, it depends. The reason being, the 20 test cases I have written, what my worry is, do I have the login page first? Am I able to enter the username password? Is it able to make me to go to the landing page? These are 3 test cases that I need to check. I might have written few test cases like verify whether the username is having 10 characteristics, verify if the password is hidden, when I'm entering the password it is hidden, or verify if I'm having the submit button. What I will do is I'll club these 3 test cases into one. Now I'll say that when I enter a valid username, am I able to go to the landing page? And I enter an invalid username, whether I am not able to go to the landing page. These are the 2 test cases that are required for me. The third one will be verify if I am able to log in using mobile app, using Chrome browser, using the different browsers that are supported. So what am I doing? I am clubbing my test cases that are written already into one as a scenario. It will become as a scenario now. Agreed? So this approach, or how do you come to a conclusion, that we will be having as part of test suite preparation. Okay. So for the ones who are new to this manual testing, for them it might be confusing, but don't worry. If you are not trained, look into the videos, because the session will anyway start from next week, the actual project. So you have some 3 days of time. So you can look into those videos, and before I start the session, we will be having 10-15 minutes of session on each of the topic, and then we will move ahead. Okay. Now the next one is defect management. So how do you do the defect management? When a defect comes, how do you, what do you say, delegate it to the respective team? And if there is a conflict, saying that, hey, I cannot, what do you say, I cannot, the developer says that, no, this is not a defect. So how do you delegate that, saying that, see, this is the requirement. If we have to get a clarification, we need to speak to the BAs, which means the business analyst or the client, and get the clarification. Now, if it is a priority one issue, the SLAs, the service level agreement that is created between the client and the us, the vendors. So how sooner the defect has to be fixed, and what is our role in making sure this defect is fixed, and how do you escalate if the defect is not fixed? How do you, what do you say, create a conference between BA, developers and testers to make sure that this fix is clarified to all and is fixed at the earliest. So these are all your defect management activities. Okay. So how do you do that? We will do a role play. Okay. All right. So that's my defect management. Again, as we said, now I found a defect. We need to map it to the respective test case, and thus to respective requirement. Now this will help us in understanding which requirement is having more defects and which requirement is a problem area. Now when it is fixed, what are all the other areas which were tested earlier have to be retested, or the ones which we found that this requirement is having an issue, what should be emphasized or what area should be emphasized for testing. Now I'm having a question to all those who were part of the live training. How do we come to how do we know what is the requirement that is failed? You want me to repeat the question? I found a defect. Okay. I found a defect. Now I know what test case it failed. Agreed? Now I want to find out what is the requirement corresponding to this test case. How do I get it? Right, requirement traceability matrix. Correct. So how did we do that? What did we do when we wrote the test cases? We have provided the requirement ID, right, for that test case. So which means each requirement should have a requirement ID, and that requirement ID should be called in the test case when we are writing using Excel sheet. Okay. The other way of finding is when we are using a test management tool, you will link your test case to the respective requirement. So that's how you will be knowing which requirement is having the defects. Okay. All right. So this we will be letting you know, and other scenarios will showcase it as a role play. All right. And last but not least is the reporting. So like concepts like requirement traceability matrix, execution status, okay, etc. Requirement defect traceability matrix and the progress graph. All this will be showcased as part of reporting. For all this, we will be using test management tool called as Jira. I don't term it as test management tool, but I'll actually use it as software management tool. Okay. All right. Now I'm done. I'm open to the questions. Please shoot your questions. I'll be happy to answer your questions. So okay, I see few questions straight here. One from Anjuman. If you have two same priority in that case, how will you handle the situation? So as I said, now that you know what is the test case that is failed and is both are of same priority, I know what is the respective requirement. Okay. Now of these two requirements, which one is priority you will be knowing, right? So say suppose login page is failing and the trainer creation page is also failing. Both are priority. Now from requirement perspective, which is priority? Anjuman. Why? I mean, I didn't get your question. You have a question or you are still confused? I said I have a defect. Two defects are there which are of same priority. Say suppose S1 severity 1, severity 1, priority 1, priority 1. Both defects are we drill down to the requirement. So the requirement first defect was for login page. The second defect was for the trainer creation page. Okay. Now what is the priority here now? Login page or this one? Login page, right? So that is how we will make the developer say that, hey, see, login page is my priority. Login page defect is my priority. So you will have to fix it first, then work on this. Okay. Okay, Sujilata, will we be given any live project to work on after the live project training? See, live project training is nothing but you will be doing the live project. See, we will give you application, any what application. We will give you the requirement docs. The first stage will be your requirement document analysis, right? So first day you will be analyzing these documents and you will be coming up with the RCA, you will be coming with the questionnaire. So I'll be answering. The next step will be you will be doing the test plan activities. So what is test plan? I'll be giving a brief introduction for 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and after that any questions of it you will be posting me and I'll be answering them. The next day you will come up with the test plan document and we will be discussing about the test plan document. Once test plan is done, then I'll let you know about how to write test scenarios. I'll just give one sample requirement and I'll break it how to prepare test scenarios. The next day you will come up with the test scenarios. So on and so forth. So it will continue like that. Okay. So as part of this training only you will be doing. It's both. Neelima, we will have this live training session tomorrow. That would be the last one. I anyway sent you we all already sent you the link. Okay. See, hope it answered your question, Neelima. Now, what are the testing tools used in live training? We discussed about Jira briefly, but the plan was to have an in-depth one during live project. People now are familiar with tool. Now we will be using it in real. Okay. Hitesh, are we doing it as a team or individual? Okay. Now based on the count, okay, and the what do you say, the people staying in in US will be of different time zones, and few are from India as well. So based on the count, we will divide them into team of minimum 2 and maximum will be 4. Okay, so that you will know how to collaborate, how to do things, and you will have that real-time kind of environment. Okay, so we'll make sure a team will have at least 2 members and a maximum of 4, and we will make sure they all fall in the same time zone. Okay, if the count is huge, say 60 or 70 or 100, what we will do is we will divide the entire application into multiple modules. One team entirely into database testing, the other team into only a mobile app testing, the third team only into the web application testing. Okay, so we will see the count when the paid session starts, before the paid session starts, and then we will action accordingly. Okay. Vinay, will this be manual or automation testing? This is manual testing. Parallelly, Karthik will be starting the automation testing. The next session will be on, I think, on automation itself. Okay. Will load runner be covered as part of CPAC? No. At this point, I don't think we have load runner. Okay. Can we go over the introductory session, Jira, maybe if again? Yes. So we will have anyway this Jira session as part of live project, 15-20 minutes. It's on. Okay. Can we use Jira to write test cases and requirement traceability? As I said earlier in my live training project, you cannot write test cases in Jira. You will have to write them in Excel sheet and attach to the Jira user story. Sorry. Okay. And requirement traceability matrix a bit complex in Jira. If it was what do you say, HPALM or OATS, you can easily get the traceability. But here what we have to do is we will have to give a requirement ID in the test case, and that way that's the only way where we can find out whether the traceability is covered or not. Okay, that's one disadvantage in Jira which they are trying to rectify, or which they are trying to add it as. But the primary purpose of Jira is you will see the entire work status, the workflow, what each person is doing, the story. They will be understanding what is the effort each of the team member is doing. Okay. Whereas in ALM, you will track the progress. That's it. When will the live project start? It will start from Monday, next Monday. Yes, Hitesh, all the definition docs were already shared. I think you will have you already got the access to that folder as well. Okay. Okay. Of the topic, can you please upload yesterday's Jira session? I think it is already uploaded, Sudesh. Can you please cross check? If we have, Lizzie has a question. If we have a preference of doing mobile testing or database testing than web testing, can we do? I really didn't get the question. I would suggest you to see. I suggest you to do all these three, and I'm sure all of us will work on all of these three. I personally feel we should not confine ourselves to mobile or database or web testing. I don't want to do that way, but yes, we will have to uh, have all these three done. If the Jira session is not there, I'll check whether it is why it is not there, and I'll ask the team to re-upload. Okay. All right. Any other questions? I see someone raised their hand. Yes, Vasudha. I have unmuted you. Can you unmute and speak in case you wanted? What is the name of application under test? AnyAuth. AnyAuth. This is the flagship product of Karthik. He's what do you say? Very much passionate about this application. So this is still, I mean, it's 60% completed. It's still, what do you say? Fine tuning. It's getting fine tuning. So it's a good application for you to test. And you can easily relate to it also because it is something like your manual and automation testing application. So you'll be easily able to relate to it as well. Okay. Is it like Jira? It's like semi, not exactly Jira, but both a combination of both manual and automation. I suggest you attend Karthik's session that will be starting in another 10 minutes, and he will be able to guide you much better. Okay. Yes, Sanjay, you had a question? Or it was accidentally that your hand was raised? Okay, can you let me know which videos you are referring to? The live training which we already had last month, and there is one more session which we'll be having it tomorrow. So these are the videos I am referring to. In short, it's the manual testing videos that I'm referring to. If someone who is not already gone through the training of manual testing, they can use those videos. Okay. What is that link, Sudesh? I mean, you wanted me to share to all, or are you just giving me an information? Okay. All right. Any other questions, team? Yeah. So this session will be posted both on YouTube as well as our website. You can have a look at them. You can have a look and get back to us. Neha Raval. I'm new for QA testing. Can I join new batch? Yes, Neha. See, as I said earlier, you just watch the old videos of mine or Karthik, okay? And during the live project, as I said, the first 10-15 minutes we will be discussing about the project, the topic again, and I'll be open for questions. The next day you will be the same day you will be doing whatever task that is assigned, or 2 days or 3 days, whatever is the duration. And in the next session we will discuss about your testing your progress, your activity progress. If you got any issues, we will be letting you know how to get it resolved. Okay. Selenium is starting right after this. Yes. I think it's a different link, Hitesh. You will have to use a different link. Chandrasekhar. Mahesh, I have done my manual testing training from other sources. Attending live training at your end will make any difference. No, even if you have attended from a different program, it's fine. You will be by now knowing the testing concepts, right? So during live project, you will be easily able to relate to whatever training that you have took in a different organization. Okay, so it will not make much difference looking again into our videos. The only point is you by now you should be knowing what are testing concepts. So that's enough. That is your entry criteria for this live project. Is any art recognized outside? We are trying our best to get it recognized, but we saw a couple of them already using it. There were a couple of feedback sessions from few of the members saying that we are already using any art. But as part of this training, right, this is your it's as same as your actual project, since you worked on a real-time project. Okay. Yeah. So Hitesh, 3 sessions have the same link, and if you attend the next session of Selenium, yeah, you will be able to understand. Yes, right. Mm. Okay. All right. Any other questions before I wind off? Mm. All right. So thanks everyone for joining today's session. We'll see you in the next. Bye bye. Have a nice day. Good night.